Good afternoon. Before I continue the journey, I would like to more or less ask you all for a favor. I would like to ask you to look around yourselves and see whether or not you can make a difference. A difference here at the school, a difference within your home, a difference at your church, a difference in your community. If you just look around and just think about what I'm saying, I wouldn't bet you that you can make a difference. Now we're going to continue this journey that the sister started earlier. I was 13 in 1961 when the Freedom Riders was in Alabama, watching the local news, seeing the Freedom Riders being beaten, seeing the dogs being put on them, seeing the fire hoses watering them down in the afternoon. I'm saying, oh, these must be some superhumans. I recall my mom calling me to her side, telling me, whatever you do, do not get involved with these so-called Freedom Riders, because I believe they're coming to Jackson. In school, my principal, teachers would say, do not get involved with these so-called Freedom Riders. Even at church, the minister, as opposed to preaching the gospel, he preached about the so-called Freedom Riders coming to Jackson. When they come, do not get involved. Well, that was enough for me. You'd have to keep telling me don't get involved, because what I saw, I'm saying to myself, there's no way a person could withstand these type punishment. So you don't have to worry about me. This particular day, a good friend of mine named Troy Harris, who's still alive today, and I was watching the news. We heard about this meeting that was going to take place at the Masonic Temple. And we hurried over to look at what was happening. I wanted to see what a Freedom Rider looked like, even talk like, even the way a Freedom Rider dressed, because I knew there was something super ordinary about those so-called Freedom Riders. So after we arrived at the meeting, they was about to adjourn. But the presenter said, is there anyone here who would like to participate at the bus station? Well, I knew Troy and I, we don't want no part of these so-called Freedom Riders. So we run down to the bus station. They made it a little ahead of us because they was in cars, and we could not see what was happening. So Troy said, look, let's run across and get a better view. I said, okay, let's do that. So we run across the street. I was a little faster than Troy, and Troy pushed me inside of the bus station. Now, if Troy was here, he would tell you he was pulling me backward. But I'm here to tell you the truth. What happened, I was pushed inside. After being pushed inside, I was sat in a corner. I was asked two questions. Number one, your name, place of birth. I was born in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Just born there. That's it. But right off, they thought, well, he's from Milwaukee, Wisconsin. He must be one of these outsiders. Must be one of these Freedom Riders. So I sat in the corner for about 15, 30 minutes, and I was put in the back of a paddy wagon. Any of you know what a paddy wagon is? No? I'm surprised. Okay, one. A paddy wagon is what we refer to as a SUV. Now, but back in the day, it was a paddy wagon. Paddy wagon is a transport vehicle take you from point A to point B, city jail, county jail, prison. I was taken to the state prison that night. Woke up the next morning, these guys who's in there for murder and other crimes was asking me, why are you here? Well, you know, the average guy in prison will say, what? I ain't do nothing. So I'm saying, I didn't do nothing. So, you know, you must have done something. You in prison. Not only are you in prison, you are on death row. Now, I'm 13 years old, not knowing the meaning of death row. You know, I'm thinking maybe it's a new dance. So later on in the day, he sat me down and began to tell me the meaning of death row and what was going to happen to me while I'm in Parchment. Now, mind you, around the corner, around the bend, should I say, there was the execution table. And you could more or less smell, true story, you could smell the flesh of guys who had gone before me. As you know, I didn't go because I'm still here. So I'm saying, well, I didn't do anything. Why am I here? When you did something, they're going to execute you in the morning. I'm saying, no, it can't be. Make sure the story shorter. During the time I was governor was Ross Burnett Jr. And he saw fit, by me being 13, to tell them at the prison to let me go. And I was sent back to Jackson and put into a county jail. But the journey goes on, but I'm going to stop right there.